Oh, we're being filmed.
Oh my gosh, how'd that happen?
Hi everyone.
It's
The Jimm
and Dave
Beer Review.
Dave, what's on tap for this week? As if I didn't already know.
We do know. It is Miller Brewing Company's Miller Genuine Draft, MGD.
MGD.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with MSG, which is in Chinese food.
Yes.
But you wouldn't make that distinction, would you, my friends?
I wouldn't.
I'm saying my friends now because there's one really cool guy that does beer reviews. He always calls everybody on there his friends. Like him a lot.
We're trying to learn.
We're trying to learn. We decided to look at other beer reviews. We're learning.
Yes.
But this whole thing with beer reviews has been, when we started, we didn't know anything. Now we know about different styles, different brewing techniques, different terminologies. So we're bringing our knowledge to you as we do it. So Dave, we have good memories of this beer, don't we?
I drank this when I was a youngster.
Yeah, when we were in our 20s and we were basically, the beer market was dominated by the big three and the craft brewing revolution was just starting to get rolling. You know, we didn't know it was beer. It's beer. And, you know, we probably just drank stuff like High Life, maybe a couple Rolling Rocks. You know, nothing really all that, you know, cheap. And maybe not even as much as we drink now, quite frankly.
Bohemian National Draft.
And other things like that.
It's $5 a case at the time. It was
Yeah.
like 1985.
Yeah, cheap, because when you're young, you probably don't have as much money. And then Miller Genuine Draft came along, and we were just like, wow, we bought into it. It's cold filtered. Wow, this is really something.
What does that mean?
Well, it means it's like
Sounds
they
cool.
filter it when it's cold. We're not really well prepared. I guess these are the questions you ask before we start, and then we can answer.
I don't know though if you're correct though. Are you sure that that it was only the big three like there was like TV that they didn't have breakfast stout and nothing like that back then?
I don't believe so. I think if you were to look at most of the craft beers we do now, they were founded. There are some that started in the 70s, like I think maybe Anchor Steam did. But I don't even know if they consider craft.
They had like Guinness back then, right?
Well, no, Guinness has been around a while, but I don't think that was on our radar.
They didn't have stuff like God, I'm just running out of. Okay, so they didn't have stuff. They had Yingling back then, right?
They did, but you know that may have been just again.
And that's the oldest one in the country, right?
It is. No, Yingling's good.
How about Harp and stuff like that?
I'm just talking about us personally that we weren't.
Oh, we were young. We were young guys going. You know what? Beer cheap, not a lot of money. Here, get this.
I certainly don't want to insinuate that there was no other beers in the world. There certainly
no,
was.
I understand what you mean. It's like now you got cable and you got like 9 million TV shows and you can only watch like one at a time.
Choice is good.
A lot of choices. Maybe sometimes too many. I think because you can't really watch everything.
So let's move it along.
Sorry, we go. Yeah, it's another thing. Yes.
Now you'll notice that these come in clear bottles, and one of the things that one of the first beers that I liked, Sam Adams, that was out of the big three. He made a big deal. This comes in a brown bottle. Beer should come in dark bottles to protect it from sunlight. Of course, usually if it's in a refrigerator or case or keg, you don't have to worry about that. So it's interesting that they made a bold choice by going with a clear bottle.
It's cheaper that way too, right?
And it's probably cheaper. And they pass the savings along to you.
And I pass on a quick a little bit about this. It's the calories 141 per beer.
Not bad.
Okay, the ABV's alcohol by volume is 4.7, which is pretty low.
Yeah, well, 5 is
average. Is about the cheaper beers and more budget-wise beers are more around about 4.5.
Fair enough.
When you get to the really good beers, it's like 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, the ones we like. Now you'll notice this has a very standard beer appearance.
Yep.
This is, you know, what they call a pale lager, I do believe.
Yes.
You know, standard foam, lots of carbonation. It has a very pale yellowish, light-colored lager. One of the standards of American beer for a long time. Now, I think there's an old joke that says, you know, what's the difference between an American beer and having sex with a woman in a canoe?
Oh.
They're both just this high above water. I said that wrong.
What?
Yeah.
I'm lost.
That's okay. We'll edit that out later.
I'm lost. No, don't edit. It's all raw and uncut and uncensored.
Well, yeah, on the raw and uncensored channel, but on the edited one,
look at that.
You won't see
I never really looked, you know, as long as I've been drinking this beer for close to 30 years now, and I've never really looked at it this closely before. Okay, people, I drank before I was 21. Okay, but I never looked at it this much.
Yep.
I was just drinking. So, beer, drink.
Beer, whatever.
Oh, okay. All right. So this
So
is good. We're doing this.
Not digging the smell. It kind of has, and I've said this for other beers, it kind of has that 1970s kind of regular beer smell. Now,
our palate has gone up in the last year and a half now.
And we have learned about different kinds of hops, different kinds of crafting, and different kinds of brewing techniques. And apparently one of the techniques...
Stuff in here to, I'm sorry, did they put stuff in here to age it?
Well, I do know that they do. It's not called... one of our fellow beer viewers from Louisiana Beer Reviews I described what they put in it as an additive. He says, no, there's no preservatives or additives. It's considered an adjunct. And one of it is, I believe it is, I don't know if it's fructose or just maybe call it corn syrup, they put corn in it. And I think that if you smell it, and this is true of a lot that use that technique, it has a scent. Some people, oh no, it has no scent. There's a scent to it.
We should try this.
Well, we have tried it, but now we're tasting it as a critic.
Yes.
Well, what a difference 25 years makes, or whatever it's been since we first started having this back in the 80s. Loved it back then. Not super digging it now. I can definitely taste the adjunct, if you want to call it that, even though it's not supposed to have a flavor.
Yeah, people, there's like beer you drink for you guys, okay? The beer that we drink for you guys is better beer, more expensive beer that we'd like you to try try out. But there's also beer that's just for drinking beer.
In other words, if you're having a party and you just want to give people some beer, because I can't imagine...
Or you buy a case for the week, you have a beer or two during the week. This is the kind of beer you would drink during the week.
Right, this is not... I can't imagine ever going anywhere, whether to dinner, and ordering this beer. I don't think I would go out and buy this beer anymore. My tastes have gone up considerably.
I would buy this beer. But I try to buy cheaper beer for the daily beer and the more expensive beer for you guys. So, you know.
Well, Dave, what's it on a scale of 1 to 10? Let's get to it.
I need to be a little more critical of my ratings. I've been told that I maybe give a little too high ratings for beer.
Well, you love your beer, and it shows, and that's okay, you know. But we're trying to do a service.
I would give it a 5.5.
Yes, I did a thing online on YouTube with a bunch of my fellow reviewers where I did Old English, and to me that landed on a solid 5. I was like, okay, now I finally have the midpoint between my 10 and my 1.
I saw a 12-pack of that today at the beer distributor.
How much was it? $4?
$5 for 12 of them. Wow. That's $2 a piece, you know. Or you could buy it at the bar for like $1.50.
Well, this tastes very similar to that. It doesn't have the high alcohol content that a malt liquor does like that. But it's very drinkable. I think a 5.25 or 5.5 is fine. I said I wouldn't buy it, but that's not to say I wouldn't drink it if somebody offered it to me. It's fine. But if you love craft brews, you might think that this is not
our tastes have gone higher.
Our palate has been expanded. And so, as we come to a close, we do invite you to drink great beer and...
have a good laugh.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so, a quick disclaimer. Please do not drink and drive.
No.
Pregnant women should not drink alcohol. Please don't drink if you're not 21, unless you're in the military service. Yes. And be careful, my friends. And we hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Oh, what the heck? Let's do it. Say goodbye, Dave.
Bye, Dave.